Hi, and welcome back to another video where today we'll be working on my Volvo C30 T5. It's got a coolant leak and it seems to be going down quite a lot, so we'll have to figure this out because I've not been able to drive it for a while. I use it for short distances, but that's about it. So what we're going to use today is this piece of kit, and we're going to screw it onto this cap, this reservoir, and pressurize it and see where we're going to get a leak from. So let's crack on. Whoop, whoop. Right, so we've now found the leak, at least one. Don't know if that's the main one or not, but let's show you. Switch on the light. It is a very bright day. It is that T joint. You can just about see it sipping down. I think it's just a clip that's loose. That's all it is. So I'm gonna have to sort that out in a sec. Get a screwdriver or a socket or something, tighten it, and see what happens. Repressurize it, retest it, and see if that's fixed the problem. Alright, let's crack on. Boop, boop. So it seems like we've now cured the problem. It was simply just a loose Jubilee clip. It was at the worst place possible, so you can see it better now with the strut brace being out of the way. I removed that, so it's now on the floor. It's just two 13mm nuts on each strut tower, and basically it was this one here that was the problem. I removed it just to make sure that there was no tears or rips in it, which there wasn't. So I just re-tightened it back on, and I went over all of the other Jubilee clips that are around this vicinity. If you're wondering what this is, this little unit here, that's like a exchange unit for the LPG system. That's what that is. So it taps into the heater matrix over here, top and bottom. So you've got flow and return. Right, I think we're good. Let's check the pressure. And it was exactly where it was, so it hasn't lost any pressure at all. So we've now definitely fixed the problem. We're all good. At least that's one little job done, and it gets my car back on the road then. At least I can start driving it again. Right, moving on to the next job. Onto the Zafira. Thanks for watching. Whoop, whoop. Hi, welcome to another video. Yeah, EPD van. So I'm working on the Volvo C30 where we just fixed the coolant leak. The other thing I'm going to do now is a head gasket test, meaning the CO2 test with this laser liquid. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in here. The car's running at the moment because you're supposed to get the car up to temperature, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to fill it up with the liquid up to this level, and then just put it here, pump the little pump, and watch what happens if we have any colour change on the liquid. So let's crack on and I'll show you the results. So here we go, there's the fluid in the right place, and we're just going to pump up this little handheld pump and see if the liquid changes colour to something like yellow or green or something along those lines. Thankfully it isn't, because I was afraid that it might be a head gasket issue. I don't think it is. I do know that there's another issue, which is the oil filter housing down there, which also holds the that's the stupid buzzer for the LPG. Right, let's check the temperature. We are definitely up to temperature, which is great. So hopefully soon. Actually, do you know what? Let's put the heating on. That's a good idea. Right. There we go. I'll leave that to do its thing, because I want that water to circulate everywhere possible, especially in the heat matrix. Right, I don't think there is a head gasket issue, at least not according to this anyway. Right, that's great. Yeah, like I was saying, there is an issue with this. It's a common issue on these where the oil filter housing actually holds the PCV valve itself as well, which is down there somewhere. Now I've already replaced it once, but I did go for cheap crap and clearly it didn't work, so don't do what I did, and make sure you replace it with OEM parts. That's what you need to do, or some kind of reputable place where they would have a guarantee, so if it does go wrong, just send it back, job done. Yeah, so just remove the liquid thing to see if there are some air bubbles coming out there still, so I'm just letting it do its thing. The good thing is it's reached temperature and it's not boiling over, so which means it's actually doing what it should be doing. I'm not sure if the water pump is actually doing what it should be doing, strangely. Anyway, yeah, look, there's quite a lot of air bubbles coming out of there. Alright, I'm waiting for the fan to kick in. That's what I'm waiting for. Hopefully it'll kick in a minute, because it's up to temperature. Weirdly on these, when the fan kicks in, it only kicks in for like a few seconds, and it's at a very high temperature. So I'm going to close this, and let's see what happens. Might actually hold the pressure in. Right, that's now locked in, and let's see if it actually, if the fan does kick in. I'll come back to you in a sec. Just looking at the temperature inside the gauge for the coolant, it's not exactly where it should be, so it hasn't reached its full potential for the, oh actually I forgot the heating's on still, isn't it? That could be the reason. Let's switch that to cold side, and then switch off the actual fan so we don't have any air coming through, and let's just let it rise further. Hopefully it should. Might not happen. One thing I can see is definitely some air bubbles coming through this hose here. I did see a couple. Yeah, look. There's still some air bubbles coming out. Well, I'm going to call it anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch off the car, just let it rest, and then once it gets a bit cooler, I will undo the cap for the reservoir, the coolant reservoir, and leave that overnight. Come back to it, and that would have bled itself overnight. And then if it needs topping up, I'll top it up, close it up, job done. That's it. Now I just have to keep an eye on the coolant level as I'm driving and see what happens. Right, thanks for watching.